time. Now we want to focus on a different story on the back page of the Daily Nation. Speaker to rule on fate of IEBC bosses. You recall that a while back the Public Accounts Committee recommended removal from office of the three commissioners that remain at IEBC, Chairman Wafula Chebukati, Professor Abdi Gulie, and also Commissioner Wamalwa. And the situation was because of the 9 billion shilling query in as far as the conduct of 2017 polls. You recall that IEBC commissioners, the three of them remaining, decided that the Chief Executive Officer, Ezra Chiloba, had to leave, blaming him for what happened in the procurement process. So, and I want to begin from the point of view, IEBC as a commissioner has already taken action against their officer that they think is in the wrong. So how further can you take that process in punishing the commissioners themselves? Who wants to go first?
Okay, first of all, I did read the Parliamentary Accounts Committee report, and I had certain disagreements with the committee. First of all, the committee must not purport to undertake the work of the Public Procurement Oversight Authority or the EACC, or take administrative action that should fall under Human Resources Committee within the IEBC. And actually that is a challenge, and it's something I think Parliament has struggled with over the years, but we are hoping that this particular ruling by the Speaker will be able to touch on that, on what the Accounts Committee, Parliamentary Accounts Committee can recommend or not recommend. I've seen reports where the committee directs the DPP to prosecute someone. Again, that is illegal. You cannot direct the DPP to do anything. They can only recommend further investigations on that point because there is arms of government that do it. I also read in the same report words like the commission was operating on autopilot, and the commissioners were not competent and therefore must be removed. I think, again, that's a very pedestrian way of dealing with it. You cannot remove commissioners using such a report. There is ways of removing commissioners as established under the Constitution. You will see that there is certain findings that are in the report that are not backed by evidence, or even was not an issue that was before the committee, and neither did the committee receive actual evidence relating to that point. So I'm quite happy that this particular preliminary objection was raised by the leader of majority, and therefore it will give the Speaker an opportunity to be able to address this, and this should also, that ruling will be able to apply to future parliamentary accounts reports. We know that we've had challenges other times where someone has been implicated, yet in the report, the finding is actually casting aspersions on the person of corruption and saying they should be removed from office. Yet when you look at the report and the evidence that was submitted before the committee, there is nothing to back it. So I'm quite happy that, and I know that Speaker Muturi's rulings over the years, which I've read even before I came to Parliament, are usually very comprehensive. So I was quite happy when this was raised.
And Dr. Chris, I've in the past covered investigations of the PSC and PIC, and most of the time, especially with the youth fund situation of 180 million shillings, the recommendation, was it by PIC? The one that was chaired by Eden Kenan, the recommendation was further investigation and prosecution. So she talks of a directive that they order the DPP to prosecute. If that
they cannot ask for prosecution, they can only ask for investigation. If the investigation recommends prosecution, that is the job of the investigators. It is not the place of Parliament.
So the question would be, are these committees overstepping their powers, and what is the right thing to do with IEBC currently facing the situation that we have?
Thank you very much. I sit in the PIC committee, and I remember very well the recommendations were at that time further investigation, but if found culpable, you know, as Gladys puts it clearly, these are independent bodies that you cannot be able to direct. They can only prosecute based on the evidence that they'll have gotten at that particular time. Now, coming to the issue of IBC, in fact, before Honorable Adan Kenan raised this, I'd also prepared to raise that preliminary objection. At any given time of the motion on the floor of the House, matters of constitutionality are given precedence. And of course, Honorable Duale, the majority leader, was purely in order. I went through the report clearly, and I looked at the report, of PAC, Honorable Wandayi had done a good job. But he overstepped when it came to the issues of recommendation. It was very unconstitutional for you to say that upon the adoption of this PAC report, IEBC commissioners should vacate office. That is unconstitutional. The independent commissions under Article 251 of the Constitution, it has clearly put a process of how to remove them. And why it is it's expressed is because we want to defend the independent commissions. The word is independent. So we don't want busybodies to come from anywhere here and there for purposes of removing the independence. So, now, the issue here is...
What further action should be taken against IBC even after disciplining the Chief Executive Officer?
Now, the CEO reports to the commissioners. It's just like a model of the school. I always explain to people. It's the commissions operate like when you go to a school, there's board of management and there's a principal. The principal, the CEO reports to the commission. So the commission can hire and fire. So whatever the commission did by firing Ezra was based on the audit report that was misappropriation of funds when it comes to matters of procurement. And procurement is a responsibility of the secretariat. It's not a responsibility of the commissioners. Remember, these commissioners came into when it was 6 months elections. A lot of the procurement process were already over. So the issue was just coming to do the oversight. And one of the reasons why PAC was recommending the vacation of the IEBC commissioners, that they have failed in the responsibility of providing oversight of the secretariat. So in this case, it was totally wrong, and I have no doubt that Muturi is going to rule in favor of that preliminary objection. The other recommendations were good. I went through, and one of the recommendations they said that we are calling upon the independent bodies, I think DCI, DPP, so that they do the investigations, and if they find they are culpable, then they can follow through.
All right. We want to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation and get the comments from the other panelists. But first, let's take a breather.